My name is Judge Chris Martin. I'm going to call this morning's docket. When I call your name, please say present or here and raise your hand so I can acknowledge you for the docket. Giovanni Chavez Rosales. Giovanni Chavez Rosales. John William Legendre, legendary. Say it again, Lejean, right? Lejean. Okay. Sorry about that, sir. Alejandra Mota. Ronald Polly. Brianna Potteroff. Thank you. Rachel Powell. Rachel Leanne Powell. Warren Pruitt. Shaquille Rogers. Robert Schultz. Danny Smith. Mr. Smith, there's a waiver of a arraignment e-file by Mr. White. The court has approved that. Pretrial has been set July 5th. Michael Ward. Michael Renee Ward. David Wood. Mr. Wood has been verified in custody on 520 in the Brazos County Jail. We'll recall that case. Rebecca Hunter. Adrian Serta. Brittany Turner. All right, thanks. Kendall Miller. Kendall Mark Miller. Chase Enox. Chase Ray Enox. Christopher Nash. John Piercefield. Carlos Padron. Yazdeep Nat. All right, Mr. Nat, I'm going to call you up in just a moment, and we're going to get you reset till June 16th. So be just a moment. James Rife. James Clinton Rife. Royce White. Veronica Wortman. Carl Caver. Andrea Young. Rayleigh Littlejohn. When was it e-file? Ms. Taberham says she's checked. We don't show it in the clerk or an e-file. I'll double check my e-file. Ms. Taberham, was this the one we were checking on the pretrial supervision attorney fees? No, wasn't this one. Thomas Meek. Jeez. Scotty Petty, Charlotte Robinson, Lana Calder, Guy McSpadden, Leland Cashin, Omar Galen, Billy Jennings. For the record, Chester Perry, Mr. White filed waiver of arraignment that's been approved and pretrial has been set July 5th. Robert Schultz. Not sure why these cases are separated like that. Double check. Stephen Cross. Is he here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dalton Thompson. Zachary Wooten. Waiver.
That's an arraignment. The state's going to make a full motion to in the indictment name was spelled correctly. I think submitted
Is he here today? Okay. Yeah, waiver arraignment's been approved and pretrial has been set July 5th.
all my cases.
Charles Massey. Mr. Massey was verified at the Bryan County, Oklahoma jail on May 20th. We'll reset arraignment for July 5th. All right, the other case is at 10 a.m. Is there anyone who's in the courtroom and I've not called your name? All right, counsel, do we have anyone that is ready? If y'all make a line right here, I'll call you up as you. Yes, sir. Your name? Yes, sir. Mr. White, I believe I called your name earlier. Yes, Mr. Hoggins told me you're going to be a few minutes late, so thank you, sir. All right, Ronnie, you may. Brittany Turner, CR 21400.
Agreed order. Signed an agreed order. I e-filed that for there's a copy of it. February.
Ms. Turner, if you'll go to that podium right there. All right, this is State versus Brittany Shea Turner. This we are set for pretrial today. Mr. Bonney has also filed a motion to withdraw as counsel. Mr. Bonney, did you file any pretrial motions prior to filing your motion to withdraw as counsel?
No, Judge.
All right. Do you know if there's going to be any contested pretrial as you understand it?
Judge, I'm gonna leave that up to the next council side. No, I don't know.
Well, I'm not sure that there's going to be a next council just yet. All right. So, Ms. Turner, Mr. Bonney has filed a motion to withdraw and you signed agreeing to that. Is that correct?
I signed it, but I'm not understanding the pretenses.
Mr. Bonney doesn't want to be your attorney anymore. And he's asking the court to allow him to not be your attorney anymore. Do you agree to that or do you disagree to that? Have you and Mr. Bonney talked about the issues regarding his motion to the court?
Just now.
Just now, Mr. Bonney, have you had any discussions with your client?
Judge, she came in my office and signed that and I explained it to her. Probably back in February.
All right, Ms. Turner, Mr. Bonney's, I'm not sure where the breakdown of communication is here, but tell you what, I'm going to recall your case in just a minute, Ms. Turner. Mr. Bonney, if you'll go speak with her for just a moment so that she can be clear when I call her back up as to what's going on. Mr. Stevens, you ready?
Yes, sir. Mr. McFadden.
Guy McSpadden, CR 2236. Mr. McSpadden, if you'll come forward, please. All right, this case is set for pretrial today, Mr. Stevens.
Your Honor, I don't anticipate there's any contested pretrial matters. There may be some CPS records that may still be coming in. Should that create some kind of matter, I'll bring that before the court, but I don't anticipate any contested pretrial matters.
Okay. And if that occurs, you let me know. We'll cross that bridge.
Yes, sir.
Grant you the time that you need to get those.
I also filed a motion to modify conditions of bond. I just saw that it recently got rejected because I had the order attached to the motion. So I re-e-filed it. I don't know if it's been accepted yet, But what we're asking the court is that because of the conditions of bond, he's not to have any contact with the complaining witnesses in this case. Those complaining witnesses are his children. Through the CPS case, there is some court-ordered counseling and things of that nature. So what we're asking is to modify the conditions of bond that he can have contact with his children so long as it's approved by the Department of Family and Protective Services and at their discretion and under their supervision. I don't believe the state has an objection to that, and I can resubmit an order should the court approve that.
State's in agreement with the CPS safety plan conditions.
So you're wanting to put it under the parameters of contact so long as it's approved by the Department of Family and Protective Services?
Yes, sir.
Okay, court would grant that, that request. If you'll submit that order, the state will sign that, then I'll get that signed back to you. Thank you, Judge. All right, so let's set Mr. McSpadden then for a docket call. Be available on June 14th or 16th, Mr. Stevens.
Your Honor, the 16th, I'm completely open, so the court doesn't mind that date.
All right, we'll set Mr. McSpadden then for docket call on June 16th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. McSpadden, once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Excuse me.
Yes, is that all you have?
That's it, Judge.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Stevens, other Mr. Stevens, are you ready, sir? Calder.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lana Calder, CR 22-3, CR 21-322. Calder is set for pretrial today.
Judge, we have no formal pretrial matters at this time.
All right, there being no pretrial motions, court will set Ms. Calder then for docket call. Are you available either June 14th or 16th?
The 14th, Your Honor, I'm here anyway at 9 o'clock.
All right, Ms. Calder, court sets you for docket call on June 14th at 9 a.m. Once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go, man.
That's it for me, Judge. I'll be excused.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stevens. You have anything this afternoon?
Mr. Rankin.
Okay.
Judge, I'm Zach Austin. I represent Adrian Serta.
Okay.
I'd like to set it for an open plea before the court.
Yeah, let me bring him up here so we make sure he's on the record. Adrian Serta, CR 21-381, we're set for pretrial. All right, Mr. Serta, if you will, I'm going to put you under oath and ask you a few questions. If you'll raise your right hand, other hand. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may put your hand down. All right, and so, Mr. Austin, you said that you're wanting to set this for an open plea before the court.
Yes, sir.
And have you discussed a waiver of jury trial with your client?
Yes, sir.
Have you explained to him his rights regarding his right to a jury trial and what the waiver of that right means?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he understands the punishments and the consequences of waiving his right to a jury trial?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Serta, I have in my hand a document entitled Waiver of Jury Trial that appears to bear your signature. Have you reviewed that document with your attorney, Mr. Austin?
Yes, sir.
All right. You understand that you have the absolute right to have a jury trial in this case?
Yes, sir.
You understand that during that jury trial, that's when you're given the opportunity to cross-examine the state's witnesses and their evidence, to confront their witnesses. You understand that?
I understand.
You understand no one can take that away from you.
Yes.
However, you are allowed to waive your right to a jury trial so long as you're doing that intentionally, knowingly, voluntarily, meaning of your own free will, that you've considered the circumstances, the consequences, you've weighed that, and you are making that decision on your own.
Yes, sir, I am.
You've done all those things, and you've discussed this with your attorney. Is that right?
I have.
You understand, Mr. Serta, if you waive your jury trial and I approve it, that jury trial may not be restored to you at a later date, meaning that if between now and the time that you come back to court for an open plea, if you change your mind, you may not be able to have that jury trial restored to you, meaning you would be left with the court to decide facts in this case.
Yes, Your Honor, understand.
So understanding all of that, do you wish to waive your right to a jury trial? All right, thank you, Mr. Serta. All right, the court will find that Mr. Serta has been admonished as to his right to a jury trial and the waiver of that, and the consequences that would flow from that. The court finds that Mr. Serta has intentionally, knowingly, and voluntarily waived his right to a jury trial. Court finds that Mr. Austin has joined in with Mr. Serta, as has Ms. Heisel, attorney for the state, and waived the state's right to a jury trial as well. So the court's approving that waiver. Are there any time considerations that we need to take into account in setting this?
Judge, if we could reserve about an hour of the court's time. But other than that, I don't, the end of June or sometime in July, I don't know what the court's got.
Let's see, I've got June 28th.
Okay.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, court sets Mr. Serta for open plea before the court on June 28th at 9 a.m.
Your Honor, it's my understanding that Mr. Austin would like a PSI completed on that. So I'm guessing we probably need to schedule that today to be prepared for the June 28th hearing.
I will send notice to Ms. Burns, I believe is already in the notice, to prepare pre-sentence investigation report. So Mr. Serta, a member of the Van Zandt County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, will be in contact with you to interview you about the accusations in this case, your background, your history, all of those things that would go into a report that would then be provided to your attorney, the attorney for the state, and also the court in determining the sentencing in this case on the open plea. You understand? So you'll need to schedule an appointment with them, and you'll need to cooperate with them in providing that information. I'm sure Mr. Austin will give you more information on that. Okay. So Mr. Serta, after you get the yellow copy, if you'll come on back and meet with Ms. Burns, she'll go ahead and set up the time and place for that interview, okay? She's right over here, and you can go through this door. Mr. Bonnie, are you ready again?
Yeah.
All right. Come on back up. All right, Ms. Turner. All right, we're back on the record, CR 21-400. State versus Brittany Deshaia Turner. All right, Ms. Turner, have you had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Bonnie regarding his motion to withdraw in your case?
Yes, sir.
All right, and do you agree to his withdrawal?
I don't have a choice.
You have no choice? Is this a financial issue, Mr. Bonnie, or is this
Yes, and communication issue.
I'm sorry, sir.
And a communication issue, both.
All right, and so Ms. Turner, do you intend to hire a new attorney to represent you in this case?
I have to hire a new one or get a court appointed.
Do you have the financial ability to hire a new attorney?
No, sir.
Are you working? Do you own a home or car or assets?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Turner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask that you go meet with my indigent defense coordinator. She's at the end of the hall, that way on your left. Ms. Tabraham, fill out the form and we'll see if you fit the requirements for court appointed attorney. If you don't, then the court will reset your case and give you time to go hire an attorney. Okay, so go down to the end of the hall, meet with Ms. Tabraham, and then you'll come back to the courtroom when you're done. All right, the court's going to grant the motion to withdraw. The court finds that it is agreed. The court signing the order this time.
Thank you, Judge. Should I take that somewhere? You just
No,
keep-
I will handle that. I'll get it filed.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Mr. Bonnie.
My excuse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're free to go. All right, Mr. Hawkins, you ready?
First one is Royce White.
Royce White, CR 21-398, CR 22-51. All right, Mr. White is set for docket call today.
Your Honor, we've received all the discovery. We noticed that some of our disks, we were unable to access the data. We spoke to the DA's office this last week. We're trying to get that taken care of where we can actually view what's on those disks. So we've got, I think there's three so far that we have that we can't open. And so we're asking for just another short pass to allow us to get that part taken care of so we can review the rest of the documentation.
Judge, we will make note of that. This is an ongoing issue. Sometimes we can correct the problem. Sometimes the disks just have to be in our office, play on our computers. So this is an ongoing problem we're aware of, so I'll make note for Ms. Milton to take care of that.
Is this something that we're getting ahead of, like fixing for the future, or is this going to be something that you think persists?
Your Honor, I think it's going to be something that persists, something that the sheriff's office is, they haven't changed their system, but somehow it's, I don't know if they're checking a box that they used to not check. I don't know. We called them and tried to figure it out. It's something about the protections they're doing when they bring this for us. We can watch the discs in our office, but when we try to recopy them, it won't allow us to. It appears that it does recopy, but then the file is blank when the attorney gets it. So we're checking them in our office before we send them out, but even then sometimes it'll play for us and not for other people. So we're trying the best we can, but yeah, it is something we haven't been able to figure out how to correct.
All right, of course, going to reset Mr. White for an additional docket call. Are you available either June 14th or 16th?
Judge, if I think, remember correctly, I think we have something set on June 16th, so I think that'd be a good day on June 16th.
All right, court sets Mr. White for additional docket call on June 16th at 9 a.m. Mr. White, once you get the yellow copy, you're free to go.
My next one is Veronica Wharton.
Veronica Wortman, CR 2319. All right, Ms. Wortman is set for pretrial.
I don't have any pretrial matters today to discuss, Your Honor. I've been in contact with Mr. Woodward through email on this case, so we're still negotiating it, and so we'll just take another setting and hopefully we'll get resolved by the time we have another setting.
All right, there being no pretrial motions, court will set Ms. Wortman for docket call. Do we set it on that same June 16th?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court sets her for June 16th. Ms. Wortman, once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go.
Is that 9 a.m., Your Honor?
Be 9 a.m.
Other one, apparently Mr. Wright was on the docket. I did not have him on my docket today. We're trying to get a hold of him. I'm not sure how I missed that one, but we'll do our best to try to get a hold of him and see why he's not here.
Yeah, let me look that up real quick.
Very well, my fault. I just didn't see him on the docket. I didn't get any type of notice. As a bond company, I figured the bond company would let you know, but we did not. So maybe my mistake.
Looks like we were here in April. He signed the notice of reset for this date.
So let's we'll take it over and find out.
Yes, sir. Mr. White, you ready?
Yes, sir.
You want Thompson or Cross?
Let's call Mr. Thompson first. Mr. Cross is getting his papers.
Dalton Thompson, CR 2250.
Your Honor, we're set for pre-trial today. We don't have any additional pre-trial. We'll abide by the court's standing order. Ask the court to move this over to docket call.
All right, court will set Mr. Thompson in for docket call. Are you available on June 14th or 16th?
June 16th, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Thompson, once you sign the once you sign the notice of appearance and get the yellow copy, I need you to report to pretrial release. Mr. White, I'm going to have your client sign conditions of pretrial release today.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, come on back this way. You'll meet with Miss Burns here. She'll give you more information. Is that your paperwork, Mr. Cross?
Yes, sir, it is.
Stephen Cross, CR 27. Yes, come on, Mr. Cross.
Just to let the court know. State date is this proceeding unless included, I filed a motion. Mr. Woodlack and I discussed the matter. He agreed with my position on the priors out of Oklahoma and states. Proceeding.
Could be a class A or
Class A, yes, sir. We've got the jail memo in there. It's got to be weekends.
as high as I noticed that it says the date is May 26th. We're gonna need to get that changed. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do since this is I'll just mark it out. I'll just mark it out, but in case we've got more coming. Other notions in the future.
The problem with this case was originally set at 26, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
And I asked the state if they objected to be moving it today.
All right, Mr. White, is your client paying off the fines and court costs today?
Your Honor, we can take the plan and I've explained to you how that's going to have to work. Just so the court knows, in case I forget, I've explained to him also, Your Honor, that when he goes to the jail, he has to take the copies of both judgment and jail memo, otherwise he may not get let out. Yeah, straight through.
And his ID. We'll go over that. Mr. Cross, if you'll raise your right hand, sir. Thank you. Mr. Cross, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may put your hand down. Your name is Stephen Lee Cross, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Cross, are you a United States citizen? Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you read, write, and speak English?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any type of mental condition?
No, Your Honor.
In this case, you are represented by your attorney, Mr. Nolan White. Are you pleased with his representation of you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You feel like you've had enough time to discuss your case with him and have all of your legal questions answered?
Excuse me,
All right, is he hard of hearing? Mr.
Yes,
White?
sir.
Come on up, Mr. Cross. Come on up. That's all right. It's fine. It's fine. You feel like you've had enough time to discuss your case with Mr. White and have all of your legal questions answered? Is there anything about the paperwork that you've read and signed today with him that you do not understand? Mr. White, do you believe Mr. Cross to be competent?
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Cross to be competent, believe that he understands the proceedings that are pending against him here today. We've executed a number of waivers. I believe that he's done so knowingly, intelligently, voluntarily, full understanding of the consequences.
Thank you, Mr. White. All right, Mr. Cross, you were originally indicted with a third-degree felony offense of driving while intoxicated, third offense or more. However, it looks like the plea agreement in this case is that you are going to plead guilty to a lesser included Class A misdemeanor of driving while intoxicated, second offense. The range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is confinement in county jail for a period not to exceed 1 year, 365 days, or a fine more than $4,000. Do you understand the range of punishment? I see that the plea agreement is that you're going to plead guilty to that charge. The state's going to recommend that your punishment be assessed within that range of punishment at 30 days confinement in the county jail. You will receive 13 days credit towards that sentence for time already served. You will have to serve out the remainder of that sentence, and you will be assessed a $2,000 fine, plus you'll be ordered to pay court costs and restitution. And to serve out the remaining part of the sentence, you're going to have to go in on the dates indicated in this Exhibit A order. Have you reviewed that? And do you understand that?
Yes,
All right, understanding the range of punishment, understanding the plea agreement, you still wish to go forward with this plea? All right, Mr. Cross, then let me ask you, how do you plead to driving while intoxicated a second offense? Are you pleading guilty to that crime because you are guilty of committing that crime? When threat, force, or pressured you to plead guilty today? All right, the court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt. Mr. White, any objection to States 1?
No, sir.
All right, States 1 is admitted and the court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Anything further from the state? From the defense? Rest and close. All right, court's going to review the evidence. All right, the court's reviewed the evidence. I do find enough evidence to convict Mr. Cross of this offense. The court will follow the plea agreement in this case. The court hereby convicts Stephen Lee Cross for driving while intoxicated, second offense. The court assesses his punishment at 30 days confinement in the Van Zandt County Jail. The court awards him 13 days credit towards that sentence for time spent in jail on this cause already. The court orders him to serve the remainder of that sentence as indicated in the Exhibit A special order for committing to jail. Court also orders him to pay a $2,000 fine, $270 court cost, and $35 reimbursement fees. Mr. Cross, when you do go to the Van Zandt County Jail, as Mr. White was explaining to you, you will have to have both this judgment and you'll also have to have these dates. And you'll also have to have a photo ID so that they know you are who you are, okay? Failure to bring those three things may result in you being refused from the jail, which would then may cause you additional problems with the state of Texas. You understand? All right, Mr. Frost, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Sheriff so he can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. Have you be fingerprinted with Deputy McLeish here. After that, make sure that you get a copy of this. All right. Is that all you have, Mr. White?
Oh, Your Honor, I've got Zachary. I think the state's gonna make a full motion to.
Yes, Your Honor, if we could go back on the record on both of his cause numbers.
All right, this is cause number CR 2255, CR 2256, State versus Zachary Taylor Wooten. And the court has approved the waiver of arraignment. Mr. Wooten is not present in court today because the court has waived his appearance. Go ahead, Ms. Heisel.
Thank you, Your Honor. In each of these causes, we would make an oral motion to amend the indictment. It's come to our attention that his first name is spelled Z-A-C-K-O-R-Y. Oh my gosh, Judge can't get it out. Instead of H, we would ask that you interlineate on the indictment, and the state has adapted our records internally as well to correct that issue.
Any objection from the defense? All right, there being no objection, the court will grant the state's oral motion to amend the indictment in this cause to represent and reflect the first name Zachary being spelled Z-A-C-K-O-R-Y. Court will have the indictment submitted to reflect that.
Your Honor, that's all I have for the morning. Can I be excused to the afternoon?
Yes, sir. I will miss you. Chester, are you ready? Just whoever's ready. I know I saw you there, Mr. Knoll, but I think she's been sitting there waiting behind. Mr. White. All right, who do you want to call first, Ms. Chester?
We can just go down the list if you'd like.
Is Mr. Enoch's here? Did he arrive?
Mr. Enox is not here, actually. He is in Fort Worth. He thought that his court date was on Thursday. So I just spoke with him in the hallway. I got a hold of him, thought it was on Thursday. He's actually set to come up to the courthouse tomorrow for a civil matter, I think. I don't know the extent of that, but he said that he could check in, but he just thought it was the 26th. He's been coming to court since November, though, with no missed settings.
Yeah, I've never known Mr. Enoch's to miss a court setting. We double check, make sure that our notice of setting is correct. It says May 24th.
And he had one that said April 26th, thought it was the up to the dates. We're anticipating this being a plea, so we just need a plea setting. The state provided us with a waiver of jury trial, but I can't have the stream sign it if he's not here. So
Are you available on Thursday?
on Thursday morning, I believe I am. Yes, I am.
Or any objection from the state if we just reset Mr. Enoch's until Thursday? And you said that will be a plea or a waiver of jury trial?
I'm hoping. Okay, because I know that Tyler's been working on it, so I don't know.
I believe we'll be able to.
All right, court will waive Mr. Enoch's appearance today. The court will set him to enter a plea before the court Thursday of this week, the 26th, and that will be at 9 a.m. Christopher Nash, CR 21388. Mr. Nash is set for docket call today.
Yes, Judge, Mr. Nash and I were able to go over the discovery, and Mr. Nash would just like to be set on the jury trial list.
All right, court will set Mr. Nash for jury selection. So Mr. Nash understands that a rejection of the offer today, and if there's no further plea negotiations, then the court is not going to honor a plea agreement at a later date.
That's correct, Your Honor. I've explained that to him, as well as him needing to report to the jury selection times and dates until he's further up on the list.
Just so we can have it on the record, what is the offer that the state made to Mr. Nash? I'll know what he rejected.
The last offer I have in the system, Your Honor, is
9
19.
years TDC. Is that your recollection, Ms. Chester?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
All right, Mr. Nash, the court will set you for jury selection beginning on Monday, June 6th. So you'll appear here at the courthouse downstairs. You'll be greeted by a member of my staff. They'll have a notice of setting for you. They're going to give you a new date starting on that date. All right, you'll go on the trial docket. You won't be selected for trial on June 6th. You'll come in, you'll get a reset date, and then you'll move to the next date. We'll continue to do that until your case is reached for trial. Mr. Nash, I'm gonna have you show that you're delinquent on your pretrial release fees, and I show a request to have a UA on you today. So come over here and have a seat in the jury box, and a member of my pretrial release officers will be here in just a moment. Ms. Chester, you're welcome to stay, or
I have one more for this morning, and then I'll stay.
so this is Mr. Nash. We can administer a UA. John Piercefield, CR 2275. Mr. Piercefield is set for pretrial.
That's correct, Your Honor. We have no contested pretrial matters at this time.
Our court will set Mr. Piercefield for docket call. Are you available on either June 14th or 16th?
I might be in trial downstairs starting on the 13th, so either the 16th, Judge.
All right, court sets Mr. Piercefield for docket call on June 16th. That will be at 9 a.m. Mr. Piercefield, I'm not sure if I told you last time, but I showed that you still have a delinquency on an older case. Did I tell you
Yes,
that
sir.
last time?
Yes, sir. I took care of it.
Okay, you did?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. White, Mr. Mulder, Mr. Knoll, any of you guys ready? Or you still need time? Yes. Andrea Young, CR 22-121.
Ms. Young indicated in the hall, she's retained other counsel, I don't remember his name. About sitting, explained to her the charge. And that was her name spelled correctly.
All right, Ms. Young, have you hired an attorney to represent you?
Yes, sir.
Who did you hire?
Peter Barrett.
Peter Barrett?
Yes, sir.
And when did you hire Mr. Barrett?
Last week.
So why is Mr. Barrett not here today?
His paralegal told me that he had, this morning at 10 a.m. But they were going to be here on the next.
You know, if he filed a letter of representation with the court to let me know that he's representing you?
I don't know, I believe so.
Gotta explain.
All right, Ms. Young, I don't see any kind of letter of representation from Mr. Barrett. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue with Mr. Knoll at this time. We're set for arraignment today. So I do want to go over the indictment with her and we can go ahead and set a pretrial date. And then if Mr. Barrett is hired, he could file a notice of appearance, letter of representation. That way he can get into the court's records and then he'll be noticed on when to be here, right?
Did we have reviewed the indictment as she indicated her name is spelled correctly for the purposes of arraignment? We would enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, court will find that Ms. Young's name misspelled correctly in the indictment. She's waived the formal requirements of arraignment. Court will enter her plea of not guilty into the record and will set her for pretrial hearing. Mr. Knoll, I know it may not be you ultimately, but I'm going to work with your schedule for now. You available either June 14th or 16th or July 5th?
I like the sound of July 5th.
All right, court sets Ms. Young for pretrial on July 5th at 9 a.m. Ms. Young, after you sign this notice of appearance with Mr. Knoll and you get the yellow copy, I need you to report to my pretrial release department. There's going to be conditions of pretrial release that you have to comply with in order to stay on bail in this case, okay?
There's just one other thing. I have actually reviewed the discovery, unfortunately. I like saying that there is a submission form for a lab test. However, there's, at least on the web portal, there was not the results of the test. Maybe there wasn't one. I don't have any idea. Other than that, I think the discovery is all there.
All right, thank you, Ms. Heisel. All right, just go ahead and have her sign the notice of appearance and then she can report to pretrial release. We still got a few minutes.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Maria.
I see the court has accessed the interpreting channels already. I could not hear the court.
Maria, can you hear me? Okay, you can raise your hand. I can't hear you. Yes, I can hear you now. Good morning. All right, Ms. Vieras, if you'll raise your right hand, I'm going to place you under oath. Ma'am, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will make a true translation of the statements of the court, the questions of counsel, and the testimony to be given by the witness in the matter now on trial to the best of your skill and judgment, so help you God? Thank you. Yes. Go ahead. I'm going to bring in the attorney. Do I have the paperwork on Mr. Rodriguez? Sure. Mr. Essenberg, can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Good morning. This is cause number CR 21390, State of Texas versus Joel Manuel Rodriguez Garcia. And I show that we were set for a plea today. Mr. Essenberg, I understand that you've had some medical emergencies at home, and that's why you're appearing via Zoom today. Have you had an opportunity to go over this paperwork with your client?
Yes, Your Honor. We spent quite a bit of time reviewing each and every document, the significance of it. I translated each document with my client, and I believe that he does, in fact, understand each and every document.
All right. And did you make arrangements to have Mr. Rodriguez sign these documents? Because the packet that I have here is not executed.
I anticipated, Judge, that he would sign them in the courtroom this morning.
Well, typically,
since I have reviewed the documents with him.
Yeah, typically that would be the case. I just have to make sure that he doesn't have any questions as he's going through and signing these. And we'll need to stop this hearing so that he can go and sign everything.
Okay. I apologize. I guess I anticipated that once he arrived in the courtroom that the documents would be given to him for signature, but I'm happy to, if you could allow me to make sure that they get properly executed, I speak Spanish, so I can do that.
Sure. Well, let me interrupt for a second. Maybe I have a solution. Let me just ask my interpreter, Ms. Vieras, are you available after this hearing? Would you be available at 10:30? After 10:30. Okay. What I was going to propose was that I could put you in a breakout room on Zoom with your client, and you could instruct him where to sign. That way, if he has any questions, he can ask you.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to go to a breakout room so that we can make sure that it's properly executed.
Ms. Vieras, do I have you until 10:30? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, it's going to take me a moment. We're going to have to set up another laptop. Yeah, you just take that one. We'll take the laptop across the room. I'm going to send Ms. Vieras with you, Mr. Essenberg. That way, I understand you speak Spanish, but I'm just going to send all three of you. That way, if there's any questions.
Sure, that's fine, Judge.
She can assist. And then I'm going to send the paperwork with him. And then if you have the paperwork with you as well, Mr. Essenberg.
I do, Judge. I do. I I would believe that I can, what I'll do is, I certainly have it in my laptop. What I'll do is go ahead and print it out so that I can Zoom and have the papers in front of me, and then we can review each and every document.
Okay, if you'll do that for me, and then that way I can assure that his signature is intentional, knowingly, voluntarily placed in each of these documents. Then we'll come through and we'll get this done before Ms. Vieras has to leave. So we're going to be working on a very tight schedule. So my coordinator is going to take your client, move right across the hall. I'm going to set up
Perfect.
a room, and if y'all will join as soon as possible, go through that as quickly as possible, so long as he understands what he's doing.
It shouldn't take long, Judge, because he and I have spent good part of the morning making
Okay,
sure
good.
that he understood the documents already. So now it should be just a matter of showing him each document and showing him where his signature is. So it shouldn't take us very long.
All right, great, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and set that up now. Send each one of you. All right, Mr. Esberg, you should have gotten an invitation. If you'll accept that, that should pull you all into a breakout. Mr. White, Mr. Mulder? Mr. Mulder, you ready? Makes me sad. You as well. All right, let me call it again. Carl Claude Caver, CR 21380. Mr. Caver is not here. Thank you for being here, Mr. Mulder. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, sir, you may.
Thanks.
Mr. White. Who do you want to call first, Mr. White?
Billy Frank Jennings right here.
All right, Mr. Jennings, CR 2227. All right, Mr. Jennings is set for pretrial today.
That's correct, Your Honor. I filed the normal 3 motions that I do traditionally. The state has no opposition. I would ask if we could have another pretrial, as there's some DVDs. I think they've been provided on this case right here, but I have not had a chance to look at it. If we can have one more pretrial, and I think there's a strong possibility of having this resolved.
Any objection from the state? All right, court will grant the request for an additional pretrial. We'll set this matter for. You have a preference? You need a little more time. I've got June 14th, 16th, and July 5th.
I've got other things on July 5th.
Okay. All right, court. Other things meaning other court things?
In this court.
In this court, okay. All right, court will set then Mr. Jennings for additional pretrial on July 5th at 9 a.m. Mr. Jennings, once you sign that and get the yellow copy, then I need you to report over here to my pretrial release officers. There's going to be conditions of pretrial release that you have to comply with so that you stay on bail during your case, okay?
pretrial, pretty much the same announcement.
All right, you need to review DVD.
That's correct.
Any objection from the state? All right, court will give Mr. Cash an additional pretrial on July 5th at 9 a.m. Once you sign and get the yellow copy, Mr. Cash, you're free to go. Omar Galan, CR 2220. Mr. Galan is set for pretrial.
Third stanza,
Same song.
same song.
Any objection from the state? All right, court sets Mr. Galan for an additional pretrial on July 5th at 9 a.m. Mr. Galan, once you sign the notice, then I also need you to report to pretrial release. So you can sign your conditions of pretrial release. These are things that you have to comply with so that your bail stays intact during the pendency of this case, okay? All right, you ready? Schultz.
That's correct.
Robert Schultz, CR 21310.
And there's also another case that for some reason does not have
I'm
me,
not sure why they get separated like that.
but I'm on that as well.
It's also CR 22116.
That's correct.
All right. And I believe that Mr. Schultz is set for pretrial on both.
Your Honor, Mr. Schultz has a couple other cases also downstairs. They're unrelated. My request for DVDs, I wind up getting only the misdemeanors. So I'm needing the DVD. I've already spoken with Ms. Heisel, and I think she's taking care of that.
You,
already.
you just don't have one for the felony case.
I don't have one for that case. They're all unrelated.
All right, court will reset Mr. Schultz for additional pretrial on July 5th in both cases at 9 a.m. Schultz, once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go.
I did file a waiver on a Danny Smith. I just got hired yesterday.
I'm sure you did file a waiver.
I did file
Yes.
a waiver. I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure
it's been
that's signed.
approved. Yeah, it's been approved and pretrial set July 5th, CR 22-118.
And I had a Chester Perry that I filed a waiver of arraignment quite some time ago. But-
I believe that one, I don't show that one to be on the docket, so that must have already been accepted.
All right. Well, I believe that's all I've got then.
Yeah, let me double check with Perry, but I'm pretty sure. Yes, CR 2273 waiver, pretrial July 5th.
All right, Your Honor, I believe that's all I have.
Yes, thank you, Mr. White. Good to see you. Carlos Padron, CR 21336, bringing in Mr. Crane, who's appearing via Zoom. Mr. Crane, can you hear me? All right, Mr. Pajon, your attorney's not connecting via Zoom, so just have a seat. I'll call you back up in a moment.
Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, I can hear you now. All right, Mr. Pajon, if you'll come back up.
Sorry?
Yes, I'm bringing Mr. Pajon, your client, up.
Very-
All right, this is cause number CR 21336, State versus Carlos David Padron, and we are set for docket call today. Any announcements, Mr. Crane?
No, we're just ready to go forward. Got some deal with the prosecutor, sir.
All right, so today is showed to be the fifth setting, and we're set for docket call. So has an offer been made to the defendant that the defendant's rejected?
Judge, the state has, Mr. Crane has not registered for our discovery portal or picked up DVDs in this case. The state has sent emails to get that issue corrected, but as far as I'm aware, that has never been able to be successfully completed. There is an offer in the file, but I'm not sure that that's been communicated without access to the discovery portal.
I'll take care of that this afternoon.
Mr. Crane, why has that not already been taken care of?
Honestly, sir, I'm extremely busy. Got many trials I've been involved in, and I try to take care of everything as soon as I can, but I'm just a little bit behind in my work, honestly, sir. But I will take care of that this afternoon and get back with the court with a report tomorrow.
This is concerning to me, Mr. Crane, because we started this case in December. Your client's been here December, January, February, April, and May. And the prosecutor's telling me that you haven't even looked at the discovery in his case because you don't have it. So
I'm sure I have. Sure, I have not looked at it. I was kind of hoping they would make me an offer, and then I would look at the discovery with the offer in mind. But in any event, I will take care of it this afternoon, and I don't mind reporting back to the court in writing or in person tomorrow.
Ms. Heisel, you said an offer has been made and it's in the discovery.
It is in the discovery.
See, so that there's an offer and it's in the discovery.
Yes, that's not normally how it's communicated as far as my 31 years of experience have brought me to, but I didn't know the offer was in the discovery. But again, I'll take care of it this afternoon. And my apologies to the prosecutor and especially to the court.
Ms. Heisel, any objection to an additional docket call for Mr. Padron?
Your Honor, no objection to one more docket call.
All right, court's going to reset Mr. Padron for an additional docket call on, are you available on July 5th, Mr. Crane, in person?
July 5th will be fine. Yes, sir.
All right, court sets Mr. Padron for docket call on July 5th. That'll be the final docket call. It'll be that date that either there will be an agreement, a dismissal, or there will be a setting for a trial. And once we're set for trial, then there will be no plea agreements.
I understand, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Padron, I'm going to have the bailiff bring you a notice of appearance. I'll give you that number. It's on page 4. Second one, Carlos David Padron, CR 21336, and we're going to reset for docket call on July 5th, and that'll be at 9 a.m.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Crane, you're free to go.
Thank you, sir. My apologies.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Padron, I'm going to have you sign this notice of appearance. Once you get the yellow copy, then you're free to go. Okay. Mr. Nat, you'll come forward, sir. Come on up, Mr. Matt. All right, Mr. Matt, your attorney, Mr. Edgett, had filed a motion for continuance, and the court has granted that. I'm going to reset you until June 16th. Okay, so here's a notice of appearance. I'm going to have you sign here where it says defendant, and I'm going to give you a see. There you go. Right there on that blue X, and that just has your next date of June 16th. I'm going to give you a copy of that. Okay. Sorry, I would have gotten you out of here sooner, but I lost track of you. So, all right, and I'm going to write on here docket call. All right, so there's your reset date right there. So you'll be back on that date at 9 a.m. Okay. All right, and now I want you to go and meet with Ms. Burns over here. She's going to have some additional paperwork for you, pre-trial release. Okay. Mr. Edgett, page 4. You guys need that. Scotty Petty and Charlotte Robinson, if you'll both come up. Are we ready on the, let me do these individuals and then we'll. Y'all both come on up here. We'll get reset notices for Scotty Petty's on page 6. They're Mr. Sanders' clients, Scotty Petty and Charlotte Robinson. All right, Mr. Petty, Ms. Robinson, your attorney, Mr. Sanders, is unable to be here today. He is in trial in Smith County. I'm going to reset you until Thursday. He said he'll be able to be here Thursday, and then we'll be able to make announcements on your cases, okay? All right, so Deputy Phillips here is going to fill out notice of setting. You'll sign that. He'll give you the yellow copy. And then, Mr. Petty, I want you to go to pretrial release. As soon as you get the yellow copy, we're going to get a UA on you today, and then Ms. Robinson, you'll be free to go.
This Thursday?
Yes.
So where, I live in Smith County, I'm just,
I understand. Sorry.
okay,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
All right, so you two can go, y'all can go have a seat right over there. Deputy Phillips will bring that to you. Just have a seat. Thursday this week, 26th. Yeah, just go ahead and have a seat right over there. They'll give you the paperwork. All right, we're gonna go back on the record here with Mr. Rodriguez, CR 21390. All right, Ms. Villiers, are you ready to go forward?
I don't know if you can hear it, Judge, but I cannot.
Mr. Essenberg, if you'll look down on the lower under the globe and select the English channel, then that'll bring you back into mine.
Oh. Okay,
So you can see you got the ability to go back and forth there. So,
I got you.
all right. So I think we're good to go. Okay. Can you bring it up here, Ms. Taylor, so I can see it?
By myself? By herself?
Judge, I'm glad you know how to do that.
Well, it's trial and error. I've been trial and errored several times. So I'm
I understand.
going to put this on my resume now. Zoom engineer.
There you go.
Someone raise his hand. So, all right, thank you. All right, this is cause number CR 21390, State of Texas versus Joel Manuel Rodriguez Garcia. Mr. Garcia, Mr. Rodriguez, if you'll raise your right hand, sir. I'm going to place you under oath. Sir, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you may put your hand down. All right, the record will reflect that this proceeding is being interpreted by Maria de Villiers, interpreter, and she has already been placed under oath on the record. Mr. Rodriguez, are you a United States citizen? All right, and you do not read, write, and speak English, do you? All right. You are represented by your attorney, Mr. Paul Essenberg, who is bilingual in your native language of Spanish. Is that correct?
Sí.
And you've been assisted today by the court's official interpreter, Ms. Villiers. Is that correct?
No oí la pregunta.
Even I didn't understand that one.
Sí.
And Mr. Rodriguez, are you pleased with Mr. Essenberg as your attorney?
Sí.
Do you feel like you've had enough time to talk with your attorney about your case so that you understand everything that's going on here today?
Sí.
Mr. Essenberg, do you believe your attorney, do you believe your client to be competent today?
I do, Your Honor.
And have you explained everything to him regarding his rights and the facts in this case in a way that he can understand it and also in his native language of Spanish?
Yes, Your Honor. I've reviewed each and every document related to the plea, translated that document, expressed to him in a manner and in his native language such that he understands the documents, and I believe he understands the significance of each and every document.
Thank you, Mr. Essenberg. Also, do you believe him to be competent today?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, then the court finds that Mr. Rodriguez has been indicted with a state jail felony offense of unlawful use of a criminal instrument. A state jail felony of this nature carries a range of punishment of, if convicted and sentenced, of not less than 6 months in state jail prison and also not more than 2 years in state jail prison, and also a fine not to exceed $10,000. Do you understand that full range of punishment, Mr. Rodriguez, that could be applied to you if you're ever found guilty and convicted of this sentence, convicted of this crime?
Sí.
All right, and I see that there's a plea agreement in this case between the state and the defendant where the defendant's going to plead guilty to this crime. The state's recommending that the court defer a finding of guilt, which means that the court does not convict the defendant. Rather, the court places the defendant on 3 years community supervision and orders him to pay a fine, court costs, and reimbursement fees. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement and what you want to do today, Mr. Rodriguez?
Sí.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, how do you plead to unlawful use of a criminal instrument? Guilty or not guilty?
¿Me puedes repetir esa pregunta que no me entendí mucho?
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, how do you plead to the unlawful use of a criminal instrument? How do you plead to that crime? Are you guilty of that crime or not guilty of that crime?
Pablo.
Mr. Rodriguez, are you pleading guilty because you are guilty of this crime and not because anyone's threatening or forcing you or pressuring you to plead guilty? See. All right, court will accept the defendant's plea of guilt. Mr. Essenberg, any objection to the state's evidence as offered to support the plea?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, state's evidence is admitted and the court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Is there anything further from the state?
Your Honor, just. Sure, this is on, so Mr. Essenberg can hear me. I just was made aware that Mr. Essenberg gave back to us yesterday afternoon paperwork with his signature on it. The paperwork we submitted to the court is absent his signature, but if the record would just reflect that he did send his signature on that paperwork.
Okay, so Mr. Essenberg, I'll need to obtain your signature on the same documents that your client has signed, okay?
Happy to do that, Judge. In what manner logistically can we get that done?
The original is going to be here at the court, so I'll need you to come here and get them from the clerk, and we'll need to have them signed, and then we'll need to scan them in. It's the only way that I know that's.
Can they be is it possible to send those documents to me?
I'll tell you what, we'll
electronically sign them?
I'll tell you what, I've got to get Ms. Villiers to her next hearing, so I'll tell you what, we'll cross that bridge in just a moment, okay?
Okay.
We cross that bridge when she's gone. All right, so I'm of course going to review the evidence briefly. All right, court has reviewed the evidence, and I do find the evidence to be sufficient to convict Mr. Rodriguez. The court will follow the plea agreement in this case. The court hereby defers a finding of guilt on unlawful use of a criminal instrument, state jail felony. Court places Mr. Rodriguez on 3 years deferred community supervision, orders him to pay a $1,500 fine, $290 court cost, and $35 reimbursement fees. Mr. Rodriguez, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Van Zandt County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, Probation Department, so they can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. I'm going to have you step forward here with the officer, and she's going to take your fingerprint. After that, you need to meet with the probation officers, and they will give you more information. See. And one more thing, Ms. Villiers, if you can ask Mr. Rodriguez, let him know that he'll need to bring an interpreter with him when he reports to probation so that they can bridge the language barrier. Someone that can assist him in both languages. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Villiers. I'm sorry to keep you. I appreciate your patience. Ms. Heisel, can I get you to fill out these paperwork, like the plea admonishments? Yes, thank you, Ms. Villiers. Appreciate it.
Your Honor, Mr. Abraham suggested that we have the defendant re-sign this paperwork and me re-sign this paperwork that has Mr. Essenberg's signature on it. This is the copy that has Mr. Essenberg's e-signature on it. So since we're both here, if we could just re-sign that and substitute that paperwork in, does that work for the court?
Yeah, that's fine. Probably have to put y'all back in the breakout room, and Mr. Essenberg's probably going to assist him. Just let him know.
That's fine. And
I'd be happy to do that, Judge.
If you can translate, I'd be happy to go over there and get the paperwork to them.
So we're going to send that across the hall. And then we're going to have to re-sign the paperwork that Mr. Essenberg had already signed. Are you here to help? Good, great, thank you. All right, so I'm going to put you back in the breakout room. And then Mr. Essenberg, if you'll go over that with your client afterwards, I'm going to send him over to probation. He does have a young lady here that's going to help him.
Terrific, terrific. If you will have our helper just put the laptop mic on speaker so that I can speak with both the assistant and with him, that can facilitate us getting this done.
Okay, I believe they heard you as they were walking through the courtroom, so we'll give that a try.
Perfect.
All right, and I'm going to close that breakout room and I'll open a new one and just take that invitation when you get it, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Alejandro Mota. All right, Ms. Mota, this is cause number CR 2242. I'm sorry, CR 22-113. And Ms. Mota, I show that you are charged by indictment with a third-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance. Ms. Mota, do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you in this matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
If I reset this case, you believe that you'll be able to hire an attorney and bring them back with you?
Yes, yes, for sure.
And how long do you need to hire an attorney? A couple of weeks or 30 days?
A couple weeks.
A couple of weeks is fine?
Yeah, I'm already on, already have the attorney. I just have to send my payment, the whole payment.
Okay.
Yeah, he was going to be here today, but my payment got sent late, so.
Okay. So what about June 14th or 16th? Is one of those better for you?
Yeah, that works.
Which one do you want, 14th or 16th? One's a Tuesday, one's a Thursday.
16.
16th?
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Mota. Court will reset you until June 16th, and that will be for arraignment.
Okay.
And so, Ms. Mota, once you sign here, that's going to have that's the reset notice. It'll have that date on there. After that, I want you to come meet with Ms. Burns. She's a pretrial release officer, and she'll give you more information about pretrial release conditions. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
You can come on around. Ronald Pauly, CR 2242. All right, Mr. Pauly. Show that you are charged by indictment with unlawful possession of firearm by a felon, a third-degree felony that carries a range of punishment of 2 years to 10 years and a fine not more than $10,000. Do you intend to hire a lawyer to represent you on this matter?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know who you're going to hire?
I'm trying to get in touch with Mr. Schmidt, Richard Schmidt. I've called several others and I cannot afford them. So.
All right. If I reset your case for a few weeks, do you believe that'll give you enough time to hire Mr. Schmidt or another licensed Texas attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. June 14th or 16th?
Whatever you say, sir.
All right. Then I say June 16th. All right, June 16th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Pauly, you're free to go. We'll see you back on June 16th. Brianna Potteroff or Pottorf. How do you say that, ma'am? Pottorf. That's just like it looks. So I didn't go with that. All right, Ms. Pottorf, you are charged with injury to a child or elderly or disabled individual with bodily injury, a third-degree felony offense that does carry a range of punishment not less than 2 years or more than 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you in this matter?
I need a appointed attorney.
Have you met with the indigent defense coordinator and filled out the paperwork yet?
Yes, sir.
You've already done that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, maybe she just hadn't brought that to me. All right, go ahead, have a seat, and I'll call you back up in just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is Miss Cazares here this morning? Have you seen Miss Cazares? Is Kendall Miller here? Jill at 1:30. That may be. Double check. That may be. I wonder why she's not here too. He may be going in custody today. So. But yeah, you also have to. Casey. All right, so you're about to hand out paperwork to all those people. What are we doing with them? What do they need you for?
I wrote that Peggy in there. Sorry, I just need to.
Oh. That's right, Mr. Nicholas, 1:30. Thank you for that. Did you hear me, Ms. Heisel? So that's going to be a plea at 1:30, Ms. Cazares and Mr. Miller. All right, Shaquille Rogers, CR 22-115. All right, Mr. Rogers, you are charged by indictment with a state jail felony offense of possession of a controlled substance, carries a range of punishment not less than 6 months or more than 2 years in prison, and a fine not to exceed $10,000. The court has reviewed your application for court-appointed counsel. The court finds at this time that you do not meet those requirements for a court-appointed attorney. So what I can do for you, Ms. Rogers, is I can reset your case for a few weeks, give you a chance to go hire an attorney to come back and represent you. Otherwise, you can represent yourself, which is not advisable, but what would you like to do? Would you like to have the opportunity to go hire an attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to reset you. I'm going to give you a little bit longer. I'm going to give you till July 5th. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Deputy McLeish is going to bring this notice of setting, sign this, and we're going to give you a copy of it, and then you'll be free to go. Actually, after you sign that and get the yellow copy, I'm going to have you report to the pretrial release officers. They're going to have additional paperwork for you, conditions of pretrial release. These are things that you're going to have to comply with so that your bail doesn't get revoked. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Just need a thumbprint.
Judge, I believe we have all the documents executed with a complete understanding of them. My client is, I believe, prepared to pay his court cost in full today, and then meet with the probation folks. Is there anything else you need from me, Judge?
No, Mr. Esberg, I don't. I appreciate your assistance today in getting
Absolutely.
all this done. Sorry for your wife and what you guys are having to go through. Hope she gets well soon. And yeah, I appreciate you. We're going to get his fingerprint right here. I think we've got your signature, so we should be good to go.
Judge, I appreciate your concern. It's going to be a long road, but I think we'll get there. So thank you very much. And if there's anything you guys need from me, I'll be by the phone. You're welcome to call my cell, because I'm obviously at home with my wife. But otherwise, thank you very much. I appreciate your assistance.
You're very welcome, Mr. Esberg. Thank you, sir.
Take care, Judge.
You as well. All right, so in just a moment, Mr. Lejean, Ms. Potteroff, and let's see, and Ms. Turner. I'll be with you in just a moment. We're working on some paperwork, and then I'll call you up and we'll get you going, okay? Warren Pruitt. All right, Mr. Pruitt, you are charged by indictment in CR 2245 with the state jail felony offense of theft of livestock. State jail felony has a range of punishment between the minimum 6 months to the maximum 2 years in prison and a fine not to exceed $10,000. Mr. Pruitt, do you intend to hire an attorney to represent yourself?
Yes, I've been talked to the attorney twice, and all we're doing is just waiting for my funds to be from the title company to get liquidated.
When do you expect that to be?
It's supposed to be done tomorrow, but then they told me Friday.
So Friday of this week?
Yes.
All right. And so you believe that you'll have enough funds released to be able to pay for the attorney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to take you at your word, Mr. Pruitt, and I'm going to grant you another setting. I'm going to have you come back on I'll give you a week from Thursday on June 2nd.
June the 2nd?
22nd?
Okay,
That'd be a week from this Thursday.
week from this.
Think that's gonna be sufficient time?
Yeah, you know how title companies are, yes.
They're telling you this week, right?
They're telling me Friday. It was supposed to be done tomorrow.
Well, let's come back on June 2nd and hope that it's done. If not, we'll talk about it then, okay? All right, Ms. Podorf. I'll just send her out there with you, okay?
Sir,
All right, this is cause number CR 2243. The court has reviewed your application for court-appointed attorney. The court finds that you are indigent at this time. Court appoints the Honorable Jonathan Manning to represent you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset you till June 16th for arraignment. So we're going to have this notice of setting. Sign this. I want you to get the yellow copy, and then you're going to come over here and you're going to meet with the pretrial release officers. Listen. You're going to meet with the pretrial release officers. Then after that, go have a seat in the hallway. This taper hand will bring you a piece of paper that will have your attorney's name and contact information and some other instructions. So sign that, get the yellow copy, come over here, meet with pretrial release officers, have a seat in the hallway. This taper hand will be with you. After that, you're free to go.
yes, sir,
Okay.
thank you.
Is there one for Mr. Lejean? Not Ellie. I'm going. Yes.
I've already filled that for this Turner.
Mr. Lejean. Right. All right, Mr. Lejean. All right, this is cause number CR 21402. Mr. Lejean, the court has found you to be indigent this day based on your application. The court has appointed the Honorable Jonathan Manning to represent you. I'm going to reset you until June 16th at 9 a.m. and have you sign this notice of setting. Get the yellow copy and have a seat in the hallway. And we'll bring you information about Mr. Manning. Okay? Oh, you got it already? Okay. Then once you get that, you're free to go. Okay, thanks. Yes, ma'am. Is that Mr. Ashmore? Yeah, I know. I think we're calling him. Yeah, I've got you. You're Miss Hunter, right? Mr. Hawkins, are you ready? Ms. Robinson, come on up. Mr. Hawkins, will you be ready on Mr. Rocker? You need some time. Okay, sure. Ms. Robinson, come on up. Oh, I'm sorry, Turner. I said Robinson. Turner. All right, Ms. Turner, this is cause number CR 21400. Ms. Turner, the court's reviewed your application for court-appointed attorney. Court does find you to be indigent today. The court will appoint the Honorable Jonathan Manning to represent you. Court's going to reset this hearing for pretrial on June 16th. That will be at 9 a.m. Deputy McLeish has a notice of setting. Once you sign that, get the yellow copy. If you don't have the information from Mr. Manning yet, you have that? Okay. Once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go. 60. Is Michael Ward here? Mr. Ward, come on up. All right, Mr. Ward, this is cause number CR 16161. I believe I reset you last time so that you could hire an attorney. What's the update for the court on that?
I've been in touch with multiple. It's either they have trial coming up or they don't work for Van Zandt County or whatever the case may be. I think I just need to fill out paperwork for court-appointed representation.
Have you already filled out paperwork and been denied?
No, sir. I've been trying to contact lawyers all the way up until yesterday.
I'm going to ask a question. Have you contacted any attorneys who are already here in Van Zandt County instead of attorneys that are outside Van Zandt County?
No, sir, I haven't. My parents actually have a lawyer they go through. They were in the Dallas area, so that's what I went through. But no.
All right, Mr. Ward, a couple of things. One, I called your name at 9 o'clock. You weren't here.
Yes, sir.
So I wrote down issue warrant for Mr. Ward. I wrote it right here. So you're lucky that I just happened to call your name to see if you were here. Otherwise, I'd already have the warrant. We would just arrest you and put you back in jail. That's number one. The court starts at 9 o'clock. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If you want to apply for court-appointed attorney, go down and have a seat in the office down the hall to the left and speak with Ms. Tabraham. And she'll give you the paperwork. You'll fill that out. Once you get that filled out, then come back to the courtroom.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hawkins, you ready? James Wright, CR 21307-308. Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court starts 9 o'clock. You were supposed to be here. You're lucky that you've got a good attorney, Mr. Hawkins, who's going to take the time to call you and get you in here. Otherwise, you'd be going to jail.
I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate you, Your Honor. I just simply thought it was Thursday, and my car is also broke down. The timing belt went out on it. I've been trying to get it fixed all week, but I missed because I thought it was Thursday, and I just didn't get up.
But let's don't be confused about what dates that we're supposed to be here, because there's a lot riding on it.
Yes, sir, I understand.
For you, your life and your liberty, you understand?
Yes, sir, I do. I understand. And like I said, I'm very sorry. I apologize. And I'm grateful that you were letting me reset and not putting me in jail.
But you're welcome, but you need to be thankful to Mr. Hawkins even more. All right, Mr. Hawkins.
I'm very grateful to Mr. Hawkins. Otherwise, I would have no show at all today.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Wright is set for pre-trial today. Any announcements?
Because we don't have any evidentiary pre-trial motions or anything today. I am in contact via email with Tyler on this case. We're trying to, I think we have all the discovery that I'm aware of, Your Honor. And so if I can get another pass, we'll try to get something resolved with Tyler before the next docket call.
All right, there being no contested pretrial motions, court will set Mr. Wright for docket call. Are you available? We're gonna do June 16th. Also got July 5th if you need more time. June 16th. All right, court sets Mr. Wright for docket call in both cases on June 16th at 9 a.m. All right, Mr. Wright, once you sign and get the yellow notice, you're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir. Is Rachel Powell here? You're fine, Miss Powell. Just want to make sure that is Mr. Chavez here? Mr. Chavez, come on up. All right, this is the sanctions court hearing. All right, Mr. Chavez. I show that you were put on deferred probation in December of 2021, right? December of 2021. That's when you came to court and started probation.
Yeah, they told me about something about my license, but I've been completing everything.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get to that. My first question for you is, how many hours of community service have you worked?
I have worked over like probably 30 to 40 per month.
My record shows 0.
0. Oh, it's because I have a timesheet, but like they haven't updated for me. I already went to probation and they told me like, yeah, it's on 0, but like they haven't updated for me.
You need to make sure that that gets done because I'm showing 0, show that you got to do 300, and that you're way behind in that. It looks like there was some kind of confusion. It says, I don't know on whose part, but
yeah, they told me about something about my license, but I already completed the 6-hour test. I was next week is when I do the driver's course.
So I guess you were driving without a driver's license and without insurance, right?
I haven't been driving at all.
But you were.
Before, yes.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, but I haven't been driving for the past since the last time I came to court. I've been getting rides over like.
So you've done your driver's ed course, is that right?
Yeah, I have done the online course. I just need for next week.
And after that, you're going to get proof of insurance?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to do a couple of things. I'm going to give you a drug test today. Okay. And I'm also going to order you to do a cognitive behavior course. You've got, and it shows here that you don't have any of your community service turned in. So you need to get that turned in and you need to be working that every month. What we're trying to do here, Mr. Chavez, is not add more responsibilities to you. We're trying to make sure that you get off of probation when you're supposed to so that you can avoid going to prison.
I've been paying everything on time. Like I do hours. It's just they haven't put it in yet. Like I've been going to probation. I went I think like last week maybe. like the last time I went, and
We might want to start getting some kind of confirmation when you turn those in, get people to sign off so you can bring it with you so you can show me. Okay?
yes, sir.
So I want to add the cognitive behavior course to your conditions of community supervision. Is that something you agree to?
Like what you mean, like supervision? Like,
I mean, it's a course that you have to take, and it's called cognitive behavior, just to make sure that that you're able to understand the things that you're responsible for completing on your probation.
oh, I have been doing everything correctly. I have not done anything to mislead anything.
All right, so I'm going to come over here and have a seat in the jury box, and we're going to do a drug test on you today, okay? All right, Ms. Powell. Come on up here, Ms. Powell. This is cause number CR 2224. This is a sanctions status hearing. Ms. Powell, it appears that the probation department has gotten a warrant for your arrest due to your positive drug test. All right. So you're going to go into custody at this time. Step over and let the officers take you into custody. Do you want me to reset Mr. Chavez? I didn't give him a new date. Mr. Chavez, Ms. Burns here, she's the head of our probation department. She is going to have a notice of appearance here. I'm going to give you a reset date so that you can come back so we can make sure that you're staying online with everything you're supposed to be doing. Okay? So. Yes. Yeah. Are you doing, where are you doing your community service at? I'm doing it Okay. Yeah. Start getting a copy if you can and bring it with you. I have a copy of these. I just forgot in my car. Okay. Well, I have my copy. I'm going to do July 5th. I'm going to reset you to come back on July 5th. Okay. It's a Tuesday. Okay. We're going to have you sign this right here. She'll give you a copy of it. I called her sick. Like, I had a bad fever, and then she said, just go back to the clinic. She said, yeah, that's fine. We'll get one today. Break. Hang on, let me check with Mr. Adams, are you ready? Okay, that's fine. All right, of course, we'll stand in recess for about 10, 15 minutes, giving us a crucial break. You may. All right, this is cause number CR 16161, State versus Michael Renee Ward. Mr. Ward, the court has found you to be indigent today based on your application. The court has appointed the Honorable Jonathan Manning to represent you. And Mr. Abraham has provided you a copy of paperwork that has his contact information. The court's going to reset you, Mr. Ward, until June 16th for a hearing on your motion to revoke. That'll be at 9 a.m. Mr. Manning, you contact him, he'll get confirmation of his appointment, and he'll be with you on June 16th.
9 o'clock sharp.
9 o'clock.
Yes.
Mr. Ashmore, just one moment, okay?
Yes, Judge. Oh, I guess, sorry, they're going to have a conference.
All right, sorry about that, Mr. Ashmore. All right, this is cause number CR 21387, State versus Rebecca Ann Hunter. We're set for docket call today. Any announcements, Mr. Ashmore? You're muted.
Judge, let me first apologize for not being there in person. I have this as an afternoon only setting for me today. I apologize, and that's my responsibility. Ms. Hunter, I also apologize for not being there in person to visit with you about your case. Judge, the last time we left this, we have an offer of 3 deferred from the state, and we have presented some things to the state which I haven't had a chance to follow up on, and I don't know if the state would oppose a final docket call before setting for trial, because we don't want a trial. We're very, very close to a resolution, but there are things that are affirmative discovery that we've tendered to the state that I believe the state was going to check into and advise if that changes any position on our plea negotiations. And that I'd like an opportunity to run that to ground. And again, did not realize that this was a morning docket, and I apologize for not being able to be there in person and do that today. And that's my respectful request, Judge.
Judge, the state is going to have no objection. Mr. Woodwike is working his case and he's not here today, so I'm comfortable agreeing to another reset on his behalf.
Okay. Is there a request for a certain amount of time for the state? Mr. Ashmore said that he's tendered some information he wants the state to consider. Don't know. Mr. Ashmore, you know what you've submitted. Do you know about how long it would take to review that?
I think no more than 2 to 3 weeks, Judge. I mean, I think we could be back on a short turnaround. And I know we were here in April and had discussed something very similar. And again, it's on me for not connecting with the state this morning. I thought I'd have time this afternoon. I apologize, Judge.
All right, court will grant Mr. Ashmore's request to reset Ms. Hunter for an additional docket call. Are you back on June 14th or 16th?
I think I am on the 14th, Judge.
14th. All right, court will reset Ms. Hunter for an additional docket call on June 14th, and that will be at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Your Honor. And again, Ms. Hunter, apologies.
Ms. Hunter, have you paid your delinquency on your pretrial release today?
I did. I talked to Mr.
What else?
Carl. I just recently got a job and I did bring money to pay half of what I owe.
Okay, all right. Just make sure you submit that today.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll see you back on June 14th.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ashmore.
Thanks, Judge. I'll see you at 1:30. Again, apologies, sir.
Understand, appreciate it. All right, court recalls cause number CR 21365, Scotty Dale Petty. Court finds that Mr. Petty was present in court this morning. Mr. Sanders, his court-appointed counsel, was not. Court reset Mr. Petty for docket call Thursday of this week based on Mr. Sanders being unavailable for court today. He's in jury trial in Smith County. The court then ordered Mr. Petty to remain in the courtroom to undergo a urinalysis test. The court directed the pretrial release officer, Mr. Waddell, to administer that test. Mr. Waddell, did you administer a urinalysis test on Scotty Dale Petty?
Yes, sir.
And did Mr. Petty voluntarily take that test?
Yes.
And what were the results of the field test?
The results of the test was positive for methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine and alcohol. And is Mr. Petty still present as he was ordered to be?
I cannot locate him in the courthouse.
Deputy McLeish, will you go call the courthouse for Scotty Dale Petty?
Yes.
I asked to check on the video camera. He's also looking at the video camera at the present time to see and to document what he did.
No response.
No response. All right, court is going to find that Scotty Dale Petty has violated the conditions of his pretrial release. Court's going to find his bail to be insufficient. Court finds that he had posted a $10,000 bond with East Texas bail bonds. Court's going to increase bail to $50,000. Court's going to issue an alias capias warrant for his arrest. You don't.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nash, if you'll step back up. All right, Ms. Chester, this is cause number CR 21388. We're back on the record. Court has already set Mr. Nash for jury selection on June 6th. Court also ordered Mr. Nash to undergo urinalysis testing for compliance with his conditions of pretrial release. Mr. Waddell, have you tested Mr. Nash? If you'll come over here to where have you tested Mr. Nash at the court's instruction?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And did Mr. Nash test positive or negative?
Mr. Nash tests positive for marijuana.
Positive for marijuana. Did you discuss that positive with him?
Yes, sir.
Did you discuss that also with his attorney, Ms. Chester?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Chester, would you like any questions of Mr. Waddell?
No questions of Mr. Waddell.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Waddell. Mr. Nash, you put me in a position here that there's only one decision I can make. That decision is going to be that I have to find your bail in this case to be insufficient because you violated your conditions of pretrial release.
Can you hear you?
Can you hear me?
I got bad hearing.
Come on up, step on up. Said Mr. Nash, did you hear what Mr. Waddell said? I asked him if he drug tested you. He said that he drug tested you and you were positive for marijuana.
Yes.
That's a violation of your pretrial release conditions. You know that.
I'm at the CBD oil. I mean, I didn't know I could do those. Delta 8. I didn't know I've got a broken back. I just do it for pain management. That's it.
Are you under a doctor's prescription or doctor's care for that?
Prescription, but I didn't know. I mean, I buy them in stores. I didn't know they were illegal.
Where do you buy them at?
At any gas station.
Where did you buy these at?
Gas station in the material where I live. I live in a hotel, so that's why I was behind on my costs and all that. Man, almost $2,400 a month. Just live in a hotel. It's just DWI's got my house taken from me. All that.
How are you paying $2,400 a month for a hotel?
I work 6 days a week.
I show that you're delinquent $400 on your pretrial
I
release.
paid it all yesterday, sir. Is that right? It didn't post when I calculated for you.
How much money are you making a month? If you're paying $2,400 just for living in a hotel.
For the hotel.
How are you paying $2,400 a month if you're making $800 a month?
Make it work.
So that leaves you about eight.
My overtime goes. I work 10-hour days. It's probably per week. 800.
32.4. That's $8,800. You have a car. You have a car. How do you get around?
One of my folks pick me up, take me to work, take me back home.
Do we believe that a cannabis CBD oil is going to test positive on our drug test?
That's all I'm paying for. We've seen that.
Has Mr. Nash tested positive for? Mr. Nash, I want you to, do you have any more of the CBD oil that you've been taking?
No. 2 days ago, I didn't know they were. That's my deal. I wasn't been taking them at all. I've been trying different ones just to see which one. Some things work. You have to take things all the time. So it's just a pain management. I didn't know they were illegal.
Mr. Nash, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt today because he has paid off what he's owed. I'm going to take you at your word because you haven't violated before. You paid off your pretrial release that you were behind. No CBD. No CBD that contains marijuana, THC. Those things can come up on a drug test, and I have nothing to guide me other than you're smoking weed, smoking marijuana. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're free to go. Report back on June 6th downstairs.
Thank you.
All right.
Easy.
Easy choosing. All right, Mr. Adams, I was just gonna order your client to be back. Mr. Howell, I'm gonna order you to be back in this court at, you have several over there, don't you, Mr. Adams?
I've got 4, I think, this afternoon.
4. So I'll tell you what, be back over here at 2:00. Be here at 2:00. Gotta give Mr. Adams 30 minutes or so over there. We'll try to get you in and out. Then Mr. Adams will come back over here once he's through at the jail. Then we'll do your plea here. Okay? All right, I believe that is all of the morning's docket. Court's going to stand in recess. Court will adjourn until 1:30.